People, thank you for tuning in. This is a top tier podcast. I'm Alf.
Yeah, I'm Alexis. How you doing? How you doing, people?
So we finally did it.
Yeah, man, we finally did it. Our first podcast, top tier, top tier. Let's talk to the people, man.
Let's talk to them. I think we go right into it.
Yeah.
So the mission. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. All right. So first, I think we should just talk. We should talk about how we have a bit of background on us, how we know each other,
Yeah.
and then we can obviously break it down in that aspect as well.
Yeah.
So
okay.
obviously, I've known Alf for many years. He's been my business partner. We've literally have been talking about doing this podcast for years now, for a while, just to be like, look, we need to give something back to the people because we've been like dropping loads of gems, loads of knowledge to you guys, to amongst each other.
Yeah.
And we just thought this is something that we can actually grow, let the people hear, just take it from there.
And that's it, because I think we have these conversations pretty much every day,
Yeah.
and looking at the current state of affairs,
Yeah.
the current landscape,
Yeah.
the conversations we have, particularly with young men,
Yeah.
we see there is a real need and a struggle for people to navigate in the current environment. So
Right.
what we're here to do is to bridge that gap. We've got our own set of experiences. We, across multiple facets, we've been both career-driven as well as businessmen. We've run multiple business ventures, family men. We've got into a lot of different markets. So we're just sharing our insights and ultimately having a conversation as we do anyway.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing to touch upon now, self-improvement. This is a big one. What's your thoughts?
Self-improvement. So I think what it is that there's a big buzz going around on everyone wants to like improve themselves, physically, mentally. But I think those things, as a man anyway, you need to make sure that we're on our square, we're on our point. And I think in terms of self-improvement, I think a lot of it, for me anyway, will always try to start with the mindset, getting the right mindset in place, start to understand where you are in life, understand where your goals are, what you want to achieve, and always work backwards. So that's how I've always tried to manage and navigate my life, to say like, right, this is my goal. What's the steps of me getting to that end goal, and work backwards so I can baby step it and then obviously move from that point onwards.
Absolutely.
But I think mindset for me is the number one key. Making sure that you're around the right people, making sure that you're cutting out the negative aspects of life, pushing forward, and then, that's what we're going down that route.
Spot on. I think particularly with self-improvement, I think it starts with self-awareness. We're talking from a physical aspect, mental aspect, spiritual aspect, financial aspect. The fiscal is very important as well.
Yeah, and relationships as well, and also just navigating the right relationships as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So when we talk about self-awareness, you need to know where you are before you can know where you're going.
Yeah.
From a discipline perspective, what it takes to actually build yourself up physically, it requires discipline. Your nutrition, training is just one aspect of this. It's your nutrition. It's how your recovery, you're resting. Are you resting adequately? What kind of lifestyle are you leading? And I believe if somebody is not disciplined, even just from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, you're lazy too. What can you do in the industry?
Yeah, it's true. No, I echo that, man. Definitely. I think it's definitely important. To be fair, like I've been obviously training for years, but even if it's not just training, just to get big or to look good for aesthetics reason, it's just it puts you in the right sense of discipline. Waking up every morning, or depends on whatever routine you have, and sticking to that deadline and having that repetitive. That repetitive like mindset of literally being like consistency, and just making those little baby steps. I think those things are actually good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've always been training from a young age, and it's been growing. It's just baby steps to a point where I'm like, I feel comfortable where I'm at. But again, it's that consistency. It's just making sure you have the right people around you, and just literally holding yourself accountable on that day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
So I think that's the reason why we touch upon this whole top tier things. Basically, it's not a top tier it's being a top tier version of yourself. I think that's what it is as well. It's about being the best of you can be in all aspects, in all realms. And I think that's very important, because the reality of it is that you're competing against yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you should always try to be the best version of you that you were last year.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the best time scale that you should always do it. You've got 365 days, that means you've got 365 tries. That's the way you have to do it. And it's all about this compounding. So, as we said, like, this podcast, it's our new one, it's our first one. Trust me, like, it's going to be fun. Hopefully we'll get some guests in. But, man, it's going to be a good journey, man. I'm happy with where we're going to be going with
Absolutely. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
Plenty to share. you know, plenty of experiences, you know, positive, a lot of accomplishments that we've had, as well as a lot of challenges. And these are all important. So from a self-improvement aspect, I think naturally, let's talk about hardship. You know, that's a very, very important thing, particularly for a man. I believe you ain't been through struggle if you ain't been through hardship. When it does catch up to you, you ain't gonna know what to do or where to turn. So personally for me, I would say that hardship is one of the most critical things for a man to experience in his life to be able to get where he needs to go. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, you know, as a man, especially in this world, you need to have challenges. I'll even go as far to say, sounds controversial, but I think every man should get bullied in their life at some point.
Beneficial.
Yeah, because that teach you to. It's a harsh reality. Like when you, especially when you know what I found interesting. And it's something that I found interesting. When it's kind of what it's actually dawned to me. It's that I've seen people when I've gone back to old barbershops from back in school, and they used to be the bully. They're washed up now, man. And the people that used to get bullied or used to get made fun of, they're the ones that actually excel. Because what I've realised that's happened is that they've been thrown into the lion's den at such a young age that they've been fighting. Literally, you know, like you got just imagine like you're a sheep and you've got hyenas just coming at you. It builds that resilience for you to become tough, become strong, know how to maneuver around walls. So then when you actually go into the real world, and for example, if you even go into like the corporate world and this tells you how to navigate, it actually prepares you for it. So even though you're going through the hardship at the time, I genuinely believe that it actually prepares you for later on in life. As I said, it's controversial, but at the same time, the world ain't a fairy. This ain't Walt Disney here.
It's not.
It's a scary place out here, and we have to make sure that we are more than equipped to face what the outside world's got to provide.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my intake on that as well.
Yeah. And what you said is very valid, you know, and the reason why it is controversial is, again, the current landscape. The lines are so thin as far as what is politically correct and what's not, right? So bullying, yes, people say, oh, anti-bullies. But in any challenge, anything that you perceive as a negative, there is always a positive from it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, pressure, what does pressure do to someone? You grow. Very simple. You take even a caterpillar.
Well, there's two things. It can bust pipes.
Yeah, or
you can grow from it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So even take a caterpillar, yeah, right, turn into a butterfly, right? It might sound like a cheesy cliche one, but when you look what's happening, the cocoon is slowly expanding. You see, it's trying to break out, but if it does not break out of that cocoon, what happens? It don't grow wings.
So what you're trying to say is this needs to have the right type of pressure. You're right, because at the same time, I'm just thinking out loud as well, because if you put too much pressure, it can burst pipes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason when you hear like certain situations where people get bullied and it goes to another level. So obviously not condoning that, but at the same time, you do need some form of hardship, especially as a man, just to grow, because that allows you to be men. Because look, the reality of it is that the way that the world is that everyone's too soft, everyone's PC, women don't feel protected, when they're around certain guys. So, they want, it's about having that, being masculine really, having that masculine energy, but not being toxic with it. Being positive. Yeah. I know I'm going a bit out the ballpark, but man.
And it's cool.
We need to talk about it, man. We need to talk to the people about this.
It's valid. It's valid.
Points.
It's valid. The whole masculinity side of things, me, 100%, I know what my standards are in regards to that.
Yeah.
My thoughts in regards to that. And it comes from a number of areas, and I don't waver from it. Not only do I believe this is a biological thing we're talking about, from a biblical perspective for me, very valid. And then a reality perspective as well. You just go back in time. It's not even that far ago. You go back 2 generations and you see the frame that the men around you had. The grandparents, how they stepped. They understood hard work. They understood I need to protect what's mine. They understood no one's going to feel sorry for me. Yeah. I need to be accountable for my actions. I need to be responsible for my destiny. I need to shape my world.
Yeah.
But now it's very much like,
that the government's going to save me.
Exactly. No one's going to save you.
That's the reality of it. No one's going to save you.
No one's going to save you.
You're on your own out here. Literally, you need to start owning yourself. You need to literally step up to the plate. By stepping up to being respected, you literally need to go out and literally get it for yourself.
Yeah.
There's no handouts out here. And the thing is that if you're going to have this handout, victim mentality, there's no way you're going to be wrong. There's no way you're going to be respected. And that's the harsh reality of it.
Exactly. Exactly that. Now, if we talk masculinity in general, right? What do you believe are the responsibilities of a man, particularly? In fact, let's break it down. A young man. Let's take a demographic of 17 to 25. What do you believe that young man should be focused on?
What should you be focused on?
What should he be focused on? Absolutely.
If you're gonna do it in order, what would you say would be the order you'll put it in? Because I think the reason why I was delaying because I was trying to put it in order.
Okay. Number one, self. Right? Self. I believe you can't pour from an empty cup. So focus on you first. That's number one. And then number two, the mission. That's what it is. Optimize yourself first. Then number two, know what your mission is, or purpose, if you want to use other words. Know what your purpose is and move in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, because what I was thinking, because I definitely agree, it has to be down to, because the thing is that when you're 17, you're at that age where you don't really know yourself that well. You're trying to find out what type of person that I want to be. But if you're talking about in the top here, I think the fundamental, when we talk about mindset, is like, if we're talking about practicality on things to actually do, I think one thing is good is to get into the gym, get into the physical mindset. On top of that, I think, I know we mentioned, touched on finance, but realistically, I think having the right circle around you of people, because that ultimately shapes the way you navigate because of influence, because of the people that you're going to be around. Yeah. I feel that relationships are paramount. Because I'll give you a little background story here, just on like when I was at school. Yeah. So when I was at school and I was 16, basically I failed on my GCSEs. Like my grades spelled Fuji's. I got S, I got U, got a couple G's.
I hear you, yeah.
No cap, literally. And I remember at 16 getting my grades, and I was like, damn, like, bro, man flopped. Like literally, like, and I see all my friends, they all passed. They all go in college. They say, yeah, I want to do my UCAS, I want to go uni, da da da. And I felt I'm going to be left by the wayside. And it's good that I had those friends around me, because those friends channeled me to basically be like, well, let me go down this route. Let me go down. I'm not saying that uni's for everyone, but because I had those circle of friends, and I can see that they want to leave me behind because basically they was excelling over compared to ours back then. That allowed me to channel myself to hold, number one, it held accountability, to realize that. And two, it made me realize that, your circle is important. Because it's all one of those things, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. And then if you have a network of people, a network of friends that you can grow with, those is what will happen. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have down days. You're going to have days where, as adults, where you might need a helping hand. But then if you've got a strong team around you, you'll be able to push each other forward. So I think that is, for me, is paramount over everything. Choose your friends wisely. You know what I mean? Family, choose family wisely. Family and relatives are two different things. I know we're just jumping around, but those are the kind of things that you need to make sure that you get the sound advice from the right people. Yeah. You know, that's very key. That's very paramount, to be honest with you. And then with that, you'll be able to LinkedIn and go through by, self-improvement, by like the gym, the mindset, you know what I mean? Just getting, growing for looking at certain financial aspects. But I think ultimately when you're looking at that geographic, that age, focus on your physical and then focus on having the right people around you, because by default, that will channel into other avenues, other opportunities.
I think you made very valid points there, Alexis. Very valid. And I think particularly the circle of friends, right? I think particularly when you're a young man, you like the jokes, you like the guys you can go out with,
chasing girls.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Man. That sort of stuff, that's what the young guy likes. But, as you mature, one thing for me personally, your friendships need to be give and take. You can't be the one in your circle just pouring out, giving all the time and not taking back. You see, because there's different areas of expertise that different people have. So your business ventures, yes, we've done business together, but at the moment we have our own separate things that we're doing. You could come to me, you could say, what's your thoughts on that, Alf? Yeah, I chop up. I didn't see that perspective. The same way with mine, with the takeaways, my consultancy, run it by you. You give me a perspective I haven't seen. Give and take.
What's that saying? If you ain't useful, you're useless.
That's it.
That's the harsh reality.
And that's it. It's
That's the
facts.
thing. If you exactly use me, I need my friends to. There's abuse. There's a abusive use, and it's like using me. But if I'm gonna have a circle of friends, I need to add value to that friendship.
Yes, we need to add value to each other. That's
Exactly.
yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of having a friend? Because then you're just literally, you're a liability.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And the way you have to look at every relationship, whether that, I think the only group of people that get exempt from having that expectation are your parents and your children. But apart from that, if you ain't getting value from anyone else out that circle, that could be friends, that could be cousins, that could be the next door neighbor, whoever. If you ain't learning something or getting something out of them and vice versa, then what's the point of having that friendship around?
Spot
You
on.
just idle. This is just idle time.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of message that we want to be putting out. It's
Exactly.
about literally, it's about getting to that top tier.
That's it. And cold hard facts. It's not gonna be comfortable hearing this stuff. But people who know me personally watching this, you'll probably be laughing because I'm not shy to drop people. I'm not shy to drop liabilities. I'm always critically
Don't like a bad cold.
drop them. You see, because I'm always critically assessing my life and the things around me, the peripherals. And if something is a liability that I'm not willing to accept, it needs to go. It's that simple. And I'm not shy to do that.
Yeah. And at what point would you say when you realize that? Because by default, by default, when you're with your friends, you go out with them. That's not something that just happens automatically.
No.
So at what point would you have said, this is the point where I'm like, nah, it's about me, and if you ain't adding value to my life, you need to go.
I would say it's probably the last 5 years I've been really, really like proactive with it. And it's just through experiences, as you go through things, challenges, your trials, your tribulations, and you start to first identify trends. So Alex, would you say you've seen the same type of person multiple times in different places? Do you see what I mean? Somebody who has certain characteristics which are distracting or detrimental to you, but you realize that same character, I've seen it multiple times.
Of course.
So now I'm at a point where when I see that, I already know you've got to go.
Yeah.
When I start to see those signs, I know you have to go. I know I need to distance. I know I need to move away from you. And it may come across as very harsh, but I know where I'm going. Do you know what I mean? I know what the mission is. And anything that is detrimental to the mission, you gotta go.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, man. It's true. Like, I'm the same way. I'll be honest with you. I never used to be like that, man. I used to be like, let me give another person another chance. Let me bring them in, and like it'll be to the detriment of myself.
Oh yeah.
It'd be to the detriment of myself, and it got to a point where I'm like, look, man, my back hurts. I can't keep carrying you, like. So
deadlifting a grown man,
It's like, bro, like we got to this stage in life, and you still haven't done X, Y, and Z, and I'm telling you to do what to be done in real time, and you ain't doing it, and then you can see the gap going. So it comes to a point. It's like, look, but you're like, you do you. I love you from afar. But you need to just keep out, just keep it moving. But my thing is relationships. I know we touched upon it a lot in this podcast, but for me, it's paramount. Because
Absolutely.
the thing why we connected is because we've got that capitalist mindset. I think that's one of the things where we think, because I'm a big capitalist. I don't believe in everyone having handouts. I don't believe everyone should get, you know what I mean? Like, if you put in the work and you create jobs and you think, you should get paid more than the other person.
Yeah.
If you're adding true value, you should be basically getting more than the other person. I believe in the capitalist mindset, 100%. That's one thing I love about being in a Western world, is that it's about capitalism. I'm not into this whole victim mentality. I don't have a seat at the table. No, you create your own table. If you don't like the seat, create your own table. We have the internet now. It's not like 20, 30 years ago. Look, the internet is you can create your own audience, you can create your own thing. So create your own table. Create your own table. With the internet now, you can do whatever you want. Sky's the limit. You can have the abundance mindset. And that's kind of like, my stance on the whole being a capitalism. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the way and the bottom line as well is that where I am today is based on the decisions that I made 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say it one more time.
Yeah, drop it again.
Where I am today is based on the decisions that I made 5 years ago. And where I am going to be in the next 5 years, I'm based on the decisions I made today. So if you are where you are right now, and you're looking at this podcast, and you're seeing and you hear us talking, and you feel that you're not where you are today, you're not top tier yet, it's because you haven't, because of the decisions you made 5 years ago. So in order to do that, you have to start making the right next 5 decisions. You're here now, it is what it is. You're dealt the cards that you're dealt with. But you can always, like poker, you can always change your cards. You can always maneuver your hands. So now it's about having that entrepreneur mindset. Everyone's calling out to be entrepreneurs now, but it's about being a real entrepreneur and find out, how can I make money? In what way? Legally.
Legally, keyword, thank
legally,
you. It's important you said that.
Yeah, legally.
It's important you said that.
I want to make sure they're there. But the way that the world is right now, there's so many ways that you can offer service. Like, we're in a service country. This country really provides, because it's a service. We're a service nation. That's basically what it is. And for providing service, there's so many ways you can provide service. So many ways. And it's just literally having that entrepreneur mindset and just following a business model. But look, it's just as I said before, like, just keep that goal, know where you want to be. Where you are now is because of what your decision you made 5 years ago. And we need to make sure that we do baby steps to move forward.
There you go. Right, and as you've touched on entrepreneurship as well, I think that's an important one to dive into. Because, being that, you've got social media, you've got the internet, there's so much information out there for people to consume, right? But there's trash information as well.
Yeah.
So if you're unable to filter out the trash information, you are just going to make decisions based on trash.
But how do you know what's trash information?
Yeah, you're right. But then the outcome of those trash decisions will equal a trash result. So now I'll give a common one, which I see, this idea of self-made. I have to be self-made. Personally, I don't like self-made. My own thing is I believe I'm God-made. I believe that everybody is God-made, right? But let's just take the self-made side of it. Like, you're from an entrepreneurial standpoint. I think people start to disregard going to get a job as if it's a bad thing, and I think that's wrong because people need to go and get the information. There is also the
their job to try to be entrepreneurs.
But they forget there is the entrepreneur as well. The entrepreneur, the person who is ready to innovate in an organization, the person who's willing to help somebody else's business grow. And there is many entrepreneurs who are very successful and they're hitting numbers. They are hitting numbers. They're hitting numbers. Yeah. Exactly. Entrepreneurship ain't nice. You know the stories. You know it's lonely, and you know the money, the level of money that's often lost, the risk that you take. You know it.
You can lose everything.
You can.
Everything. And I'm not even just talking about on a financial aspect. You can even lose relationships.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, in terms of touching what you said about entrepreneurship, like, I 100% agree. This whole notion that you all have to quit. Now, listen to me. If you feel that you've got a business model that works, then by all means. But sometimes I feel that a lot of people try to reinvent the wheel, recreate, like, try to be something, try to reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need to go for what works.
That's it.
Just go with the business model that has actually been successful, that has worked, rather than, not everyone can be a Jeff Bezos. Not everyone can be an Elon. That's one-on-one. Mm-hmm. One-on-one.
Yeah.
I don't think Elon's even human. You know what I'm saying? So that's one-on-one. But for the majority, but the reality is that for the majority of people, there's nothing wrong with being number two.
There isn't.
There's nothing number two. Like, even if we talk on a hip hop level, I remember seeing an interview with Tony Yayo.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm happy that 50's my boss.
Yeah.
He said, that's fine, because I'm richer than most people anyway. That's
there you go.
One.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So it's okay being number two. You got, like, people like Jay-Z, you got Tata. It's probably worth this, it's probably worth
exactly.
Gold. But exactly, you don't have to be the guy at the front.
You don't.
You don't have to be the number one guy. You know what I mean? Being top tier is being top tier within yourself. That's the way. That's the motion that we want to be pushing. At the end of the day, like, not everyone can make it. If you can, fantastic. You obviously, we'll see whoever at the top. But the reality of it as well is that some people need to be realistic. Some people haven't got it, they don't. Something that someone told me years ago. Common sense ain't that common.
Nope, it's not.
So yeah, common sense is not that common. Some people don't have common sense, and some people don't have it. And it's the same thing. Some people are entrepreneurs because with entrepreneurship, the reality is about the grind. I don't know if you see. I know you've seen it. I don't know for a fact you've seen it. The iceberg.
Yeah.
We have the iceberg, but then underneath the water level, you see the bigger iceberg at the bottom, and obviously it shows like the struggles, the hardships. You know what I mean? The stress, the sleepless night. But at the top, you just see the pretty iceberg. That is the real harsh reality of it.
It is.
When
it
it
is.
comes to being entrepreneurs.
It is, absolutely. And you know what? Particularly when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? And playing positions. I think this is where the ego needs to be dropped. Because what I say, the majority of ventures I've had, I've been the number one, yes. But I've been the number two as well. I've been the employee. But it's being smart enough and strategic enough to know your position at the time and play that position.
And let me ask you a question. When you was number two,
Yeah.
I obviously you don't need to, I don't know if you want to answer.
Oh, feel free, go on.
When you was did you make more money being number one or did you make more money being number two?
Honestly, I made my money being number one.
Okay.
But in that number two position, I got something you can't put a price on. Knowledge. Knowledge.
Yeah, you got
because I was in a field, an industry, which was new to me. I'm not the guy. And I'm very straightforward about this. Being it's my field, project and program management, that's my area of expertise. I know that I'm a facilitator. I facilitate the delivery of something. So when it's technical, you've got subject matter experts. They are the people who know what they are building, the solution they're building. So you leverage those people, you lean on those people, right? So the same way, when I was number two in an industry that was different to me, I need to take the guidance of the person who knows the industry. If I'm there going off assumptions, what I think, non-factual, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So whenever I've had to flex between roles, I'm comfortable doing it and learning.
Yeah.
No problemo.
Yeah. Okay. No.
And I think it's ego. That's when ego gets people. Ego gets people.
Ego that gets people, to be honest with you, because everyone wants to flex. You know, as they say, like, you got the people that are like the CEOs that wants to feel like the CEOs, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're right, it's just ego.
Yes, it's ego.
It's just ego. And the reality of it, you can be super successful being number two, being number three. Not every, I said, like with Jeff Bezos, you got people that are like number two, number three, and they're super successful.
Yeah, exactly.
They're more successful than both of us.
Yeah, I'll take 1% share. No problem.
Yeah,
No problem.
Of course. 1% of what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or billions, come on.
There you
know what I
go.
mean? And that's what it's all about, man. That is what it's all about.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say, you don't always have to score the goal. Sometimes you kick the ball to someone to score. It's fine. You win the game.
like
Case
football
closed.
team, right?
Yeah, you win the
Like
game.
everyone can be Ronaldo.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You
Ronaldo
can't.
could be Messi. Play your position.
Play your part.
Pass the ball to Ronaldo and he'll shoot the score. The team wins. Everyone wins.
You reap the benefits anyway. Exactly.
That's true.
But then imagine you've got the guy who's trying to be the Ronaldo as well. So he's trying to do exactly what Ronaldo's doing. And remember, he's not got that expertise to do it. So now you've got two people fighting for the same position, doing the same thing.
Trying to shoot goals but hitting the post.
Exactly that.
Not
It doesn't make sense.
Back of the net.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So now your ego has now made you detrimental to the
team.
cause. To the team.
To the team. Yeah.
And I believe that sort of person, they gotta go.
Yeah.
They've got to go.
Yeah. So we touched on a lot on relationships, man, in terms of like the circle. Yeah, man, I think it's important.
Very important.
I think it's important.
Critical even, in my opinion.
Huh?
Absolutely critical, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's paramount. So this holding back onto it, this holding back to what we're talking about, for someone between 17 and 18, yeah, relationships, guys, super important, 100%. You know, it's everything, it's literally everything. And then that will tell you how to navigate the course of your direction.
Yep, spot on. And another point, right, when it comes to relationships, I believe that and the self-improvement goes hand in hand, right? So with self-improvement, I think there's a big component to it, which is emotional control, right? Particularly as a man. And why does that link to relationships? You see, if you don't have control of your emotions, when something rubs you up the wrong way, right, and you decide, I'm going to go and burn a bridge, I'm going to burn a relationship which could have been beneficial to you in the future, But because you didn't work on yourself to be able to control your emotions, you made a decision which has now shot you in the foot.
And you know what helps you with that?
Go on.
Well, going back to it, going physical. If you've got a discipline, either you're doing a sport or you're going to the gym, it teaches you to be disciplined. It teaches you to have self-control. And that's the thing, because it's one of those ones where I remember hearing another saying where, I rather, it's good to be dangerous but have self-control rather than basically be weak. Let me paraphrase it. So a guy who's dangerous, who can have more control, is better than a guy who's weak, who basically don't have any control, if that makes sense. Because if you're strong, physically strong, knowing that you can do damage and you're a dangerous person, but knowing that you've got that temperament just to be chilled, that is a better person to be.
Yeah, so I think when you work on strengthening yourself up in all different areas of your life, the physical, the spiritual, the mental, then when you have a set of principles, i.e. for me, integrity being something that I won't negotiate on, I can hold that position because I'm strong enough to know whatever the consequences are, I'm willing to accept them to keep my integrity intact. Now, on the contrary, the other type of person who has not strengthened themselves up as a man, I think the problem with those type of men is that in order for them to actually get results, they compromise on integrity. They'll do all the Weasley, sneaky, crafty stuff, which is just unethical and you shouldn't be doing. They'll do it because it's the only way they can navigate through the world. Do you get it? The only way they can navigate. And no, that's not the road to go down for the viewer. Have your principles, have your integrity in place, know what you stand on, and don't move off that position. You don't have to. No, there's going to be consequences, but part of being a well-rounded man, you have to be willing to accept those consequences. You sleep good at night. Let's say it's £1 million or $1 million. I'll rather take that than the 10 million or 10 million pounds or $10 million and compromise my integrity. I'll take the one.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll take the one.
100%. And with the entrepreneur mindset, I know you'll be able to make it into 10 anyway.
There you go. I'll flip it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll flip it.
And obviously, and how would you flip it? Because again, like with entrepreneurship, the whole aim of the game is like a doubles game as well. So with entrepreneurship, the whole mindset is like, how can I double? How can I double? Make that 1 into 2.
Yeah.
That 2 into 4. That 4 into 8. 8 into 16. And if you have that mindset, that's another way that you'll be able to grow with that as well.
Absolutely. Another key word, the aggressive patience. Aggressive patience to know you're hungry for it, but you're willing to go through the steps to gradually get there. The compounding. What is it they say? Compounding is the 8th wonder of the world. Yeah. And it is incremental gains. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Incremental gains, build momentum, and then you get the result.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I didn't really know about compounding until a later stage in life. And I can openly admit that.
Same for me.
Yeah. And if I knew, it's one of those ones they will say, if you knew what you knew before, boy, that's what it is. But you're here now. And now it's about how do you go from that. But as you said, compound interest is the key. You said the 8th wonder of the world. Yeah. Very, very valuable. Very, very valuable. Start now. Start today. Be aggressive, and just compound day by day. And even with the compound, just not on the financial aspect, but also on the physical aspect.
All areas, yeah.
In all areas. Compounding. Keyword.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and with the compounding, it typically gets associated with finance as we know the numbers. But it's the same way from a physical standpoint. Overall, from self-improvement, like even when it comes to reading, right? That's something that's in my routine. I've had my routine, as you know, the 5 a.m. routine for the last 5 years.
Yes, you have.
Up at 5. Yeah. Pray, meditate, read, get to the gym, train, do my weights, do my cardio, go in the sauna, come out of the sauna, put my suit on, hit the road, get in the office, go see clients. That same routine. But you see that period of reading the books, we're up at 5. The gym opens at 6 for me. So to go through that routine to get to the gym, the reading is only a 20-minute window. So, right, I'm focused for 20 minutes on reading this book. Done. The 20 minutes is done. I've done my highlighting, all that sort of stuff. Right, taking my little notes, put the bookmark in, done. That's my little bit there. But it's the consistency. Because the problem is, people can often go and think, let me just try and blitz this book, read all of this book. You do it one day, then you don't revisit that book for another month.
Yeah, and you don't retain the knowledge.
You don't retain it.
From that point.
Yeah, you do it in chunks, and you actually like focus on the quality
Steps.
rather than the quantity, the baby steps. And it's like that 20-minute read, I can now be like, okay, cool. Through my highlighting, because I've got a color code as well. The greens, things to implement in my life. The reds, things to stop doing. Purple, the gems, the gems, those sort of things. But then I also think the greens, the stuff that I need to apply to my life. How am I going to proactively execute this today? Do you see what I mean? Actually,
So you make every time counts.
yeah, it has to count. There's no point reading 50 pages and you retain nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you read one page, even half a page, if you've got the juice from that half a page and you're willing to implement it in your life, great. Because information without execution is dead. There's no point.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah. Well, I just got a gem from you on that one. Yeah. No, valid points, man. That's why. But this is why I like it. Like, this is why I like why we're doing this whole podcast as well. Because for me, it's just like iron sharpens irons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some gems from you, vice versa. Give it to the people. The people can obviously give some back to us. Whatever it may be. So it's about just building that network, building that team. So yeah, I'm happy, man.
And that's it. I think the big thing we've spoken about is the community side of things.
Yes.
Like what we are doing, we are harnessing we're trying to really build a community, a network of people. So even you're viewing, you got any points to make, drop them in the comments. You got any questions you'd like us to touch on, drop them in the comments as well. Feel free, reach out to us on the socials, no problem. Absolutely, go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so look, I think we've had a good conversation. We've
definitely,
touched on a lot of points.
Yeah.
I think let's start to wrap it up. We've got stuff that we need to get done.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
And ultimately, appreciate you tuning in to the first one. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Any points you want to make, any questions you have, just drop them in the comment section. Follow us on the socials. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Top tier, baby.
Top tier.
Top tier.